Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I am bringing you round 2 from the Sutton Coldfield League Challenge. Now, if you haven't watched round 1 yet, there's a link in the description. Make sure you go back and watch it, because there are going to be spoilers, most likely. In round 2, we've got another 2 very good players. On the right, we've got Connor Bird. Just missed out on his Worlds invite last year, but make no mistake, he's only been playing about a year. He is very good. On the left, we have got Tamao Cameron. He's top cut Worlds in the past. He won UK Nationals last year. He will pretty much forever be the reigning UK National Champion now that National Championships are over. Tamao's playing Mega Mewtwo. Connor is playing Darkrai Yveltal, and we are off. So, kind of like we saw in the previous game, we've got a Darkrai Yveltal, and straight away we've got a Mew with a Fighting Fury belt and a Trainer's Mail. If he hits a Lysander off this, I am calling deja vu. We also have a Fright Knight Yveltal on the bench with that Pitch Black Spear attack. This is, I mean, an awful lot of people are playing this Yveltal at the moment. It really is, it's proving to be a very, very good card. Oh, and he hits a Sycamore, which Luke would have wanted in the previous game. 60 to the active, 60 to a bench DX. Now, we do see a Max Elixir straight away. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Attach a basic energy to a benched basic Pokemon. He sees one, he pops it on the Yveltal. Now, one thing that is interesting is that we assume, like Luke, that Connor is playing double colourless energy. If he is, that means he's probably playing 8 or 9 basic dark, which means he's only likely to hit about half of his max elixirs. Oh, and straight away there, we see an Ultra Ball getting rid of that max elixir and that Super Rod. But we know he's got a Sycamore in hand, so he's just going to go straight for the Sycamore. If he plays Hooper, I like not getting Hooper here. He doesn't need a whole bunch of Pokemon out, and he's going to play a Sycamore, so he doesn't need a Shaman. Not only that, of course, but Hooper's weak to Psychic, meaning Mega Mewtwo will have a field day. Now, one thing, the big question here, and both of these players are 1-1, 1-0, as you can see. One of the questions here is going to be, can Connor keep up the pressure while stopping damage change? Tamao is going to be trying to use Mewtwo to damage change, getting rid of all the damage on him, switching it onto his opponent, and Connor is going to be trying to make sure he can't damage change. Now, the other huge bonus for Connor is that Yveltal's ability, which stops the effects of all tools in play. So if he can get that Fright Knight Yveltal into the active by his next turn, that's going to turn off all of the Spirit Links for Mewtwo, meaning he won't be able to evolve without ending his turn, which will be very, very nice for Connor and not quite so nice for Tamao. Now we see the second Fright Knight Yveltal there. Mew, of course, has free retreat. So he just gets rid of him, and as I've said, he pops that Yveltal into the active, and he needs the Yveltal in the active, because that is going to make a mockery of all Tamao's Spirit Links. It means Tamao might have to play a Lysander next turn, just to grab something else into the active, so his Spirit Links get turned on. Even something like an Escape Rope, which forces Connor to switch his active, but gives him a choice, won't do any good here, because of course Connor's got one on his bench. Oh, and that is not a good start from Tamao there at all. So he just uses, is it Scattershot there for 1 Psychic Energy? Just doing, it does 30 times the number of Psychic Energy attached to Mewtwo. Does 30 energy. Oh, and straight away here, we see a Reverse Valley there, doing 10 more damage for all of his Dark Pokemon's attacks. It was Scattershot. Go me. I know you guys have got the cards on screen. I add them in the edit. Right now, you guys have an easier time than I do. And straight away, we see that Pitch Black Spear. 30 to the active, 30 to a bench, and of course, the 10. Oh, and there is a Parallel City. And it looks like Tamao is limiting his own bench. It's not really doing much in terms of stopping damage, but it's getting rid of the stadium there. And getting rid of the stadium is good. Now, If Connor decides to attack with any grass, fire or water Pokemon, they will do less damage. Clearly he doesn't want to do that. And had Tamao played that Parallel City and limited Connor's bench, all Connor would have done was just discard the Shaman. Brilliant. Now that 2-prize Pokemon is no longer sitting on Connor's side of the field to grab 2 cheeky prizes from. So Connor goes for the Sycamore there, getting rid of a whole bunch of energy and a Parallel City of his own. And we see a Trainer's Mail coming down. And there isn't a huge amount he needs right now. A Max Elixir would be good, because if Tamao gets a damage change going off, that's going to be bad news. What Connor really wants to do is spread 120 damage with the Yveltal, and then come in and clean up with the Yveltal EX. Because right now, that stadium could actually come back to hurt Connor. That Friday Night Yveltal has 130 HP. Which means that if he does another attack for 60, he will have done 130 damage to Mewtwo. Sounds good. But if next turn Tamao hits a Psychic and a... If he hits a Psychic and a Shrine of Memories, he can copy damage change, switch the amount of damage on both the active Pokemon, and actually there'll be 30 on the Mewtwo and 130 on the Yveltal, which will get a KO on the Yveltal. So that stadium might actually have done the extra 10 damage needed for a damage change KO. Be interesting to see if Tamao gets it. What Connor would dearly love here is to... Because he's not doing more than... Oh, and there we see again another Reverse Valley. So now he'll be doing 140 to the active. Now, let's be clear about this. I'm not saying Connor was wrong to play the stadium, because of course Mewtwo's got 210 HP. So, if Connor does that one more time with the stadium out, he's going to get the KO. Oh my goodness. There's the Shrine of Memories. Does he have the energy? I don't think he does have the energy here, ladies and... Oh my goodness, he's just used Psychic Infinity for the KO. That's all he could do. He just used Psychic Infinity, Mega Mewtwo's attack, which hits for, some obscene amount, like 190 at this stage. But he couldn't use Damage Change. Damage Change there would have been so good. But he was 1 energy short. And you can see already, Tamao is not drawing great. And that was, oh my goodness. So Connor here, it looks, it's not the game yet. One more Reverse Valley and Connor will have the game. That bench Mewtwo's going up to 180 damage. He gone. That Mewtwo, the Mega Mewtwo in the active is going up to 200. He not gone. So one more Reverse Valley and Connor has the game right here, taking 4 prizes. But if he doesn't have the stadium, Tamao can just go Energy, KO your Yveltal, and I've gone from 10 HP remaining to completely undamaged. Oh, and that is a big Sycamore here, but Connor knows he's got to play the Sycamore. Firstly, I don't know how many Reverse Valley he plays, but if he's got another one, he needs it. It's literally the game. Secondly, he can't end Tamao. He knows Tamao has nothing in his hand. But as I've said, if this turn looks like it's going to go, Connor's going to get 2 prizes. But if Tamao gets a Psychic Energy, he's going to have an undamaged Mega Mewtwo with 0 energy attached. With 0 damage with 4 energy attached. And that is going to be key. Oh, and Connor fails the Max Elixir there, maybe looking to try and get a Mew going. But it's a moot. It's a moot point. That was surprisingly difficult to say, given that I was thinking about Mew. Or as I prefer to call him, Moo. So this is not the game yet. Connor's going to take 2 prizes off that bench Mewtwo, but there is life in Tamao. Is it an energy or a supporter? It's a Shaman. Oh, he's got the energy. Okay. Oh, of course, he took a prize. I do apologise. So I think the prize was an energy and maybe the top deck was a Shaman. Now he's got the energy. Now he's got the Shaman. Now this is going quite well indeed. Because all Connor's energy is gone here. All of Connor's energy is going away. Mega Mewtwo is going to use Shrine of Memories, that stadium that allows you to use attacks of your previous evolutions. He's going to copy Mewtwo's damage change attack that literally just flips the amount of damage on each of the Pokemon. All 200 damage will go onto the Yveltal. It will KO the Yveltal. And better than that, that Mewtwo is going to be completely undamaged. Oh my goodness, this was so good. And Tamao really needed that. I mean, he couldn't really have had two better cards. Now, one thing Tamao needs to be thinking about here is getting his Garbodor out. Garbodor turns off abilities. Now, we're not really worried about Yveltal's ability. It's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. What we are worried about here is Mew's ability. Because Mew can copy, for instance, Yveltal EX's attack, and he's hitting double damage. And of course, if you can one-hit KO these Mewtwo's, then you don't need to worry about damage change, because they gone. So, I like Tamao's setup here. He's doing what he needs. He's got another Mewtwo. He can start building up energy on that next turn. And he's got... Actually, he hasn't got much else, to be honest. Oh, he's got a Sycamore. Good. Oh, he had to get rid of a Shrine of Memories. Could come back to bite him. But a lot of Mewtwo players I've been speaking to lately have very deliberately been playing one Parallel City and 4 Shrine of Memories, because the theory is I need Shrine of Memories. If I play one non-Shrine of Memories stadium, most players are going to be playing 4 of their preferred stadium. I'm playing 5 stadiums, they're playing 4. I can keep Shrine of Memories in play. Play Parallel City to get rid of their stadium on a turn when I don't need Shrine of Memories. So, we did see that from Tamao, and it's not all that bad here, because we've seen he's got a couple of Mega Turbos in his hand. So, if he can go ahead and get a Spirit Link and a Mega Mewtwo, because although Mew copies the attack, it doesn't copy any abilities, he's got his own ability, then he can actually just double Mega Turbo onto the Mewtwo. And the big problem for Connor here is just going to be getting energy on the field. Oh, speaking of getting energy on the field, there's a Max Elixir. That looks like he's got an energy there, which is nice. Although he has no 1 energy attacks other than Mew's attack himself, which allows him to search for a Pokemon. But he needs at least another energy. Of course, he can't have used his energy for the turn. And he's just counting up. Now, assuming he's got an energy in hand, I think he can get the KO here, because Evil Ball does 20 plus 20 for each energy attached to both the active. Oh, and he's got a double colourless in hand. If he pops the double colourless down, that'll be 7 energy, which is 140, add the 20 base, which is 160, add the 10 is 170, before you hit for weakness. So that's actually an Evil Ball for 340 damage. Now, it's a lot to ask for from Tamao here. But if Tamao can go ahead and get the Mewtwo, because that Mew has only actually got 90 HP and a weakness to Psychic. So a 2 energy Scatter Shot would be enough to get the KO here. A 2 energy Psychic Infinity would be enough to get the KO here. So all he needs a Spirit Link Mewtwo and either a DCE. Oh, he's got plenty of energy. Yeah, so he's got the KO here. The other thing he really needs is an N. If he can KO the Mew, and then N Connor down, just before getting the KO, N Connor down to 2 cards in his hand, then all of a sudden we've got Tamao sitting there with, he's only down by 1 prize, and he's got a Mega Mewtwo rolling, and Connor has no energy on the field, 2 cards in hand. It's a lot to ask for, but it's doable. So here comes the Ultra Ball from Tamao. I mean, if he could get a Garbodor, that would be amazing. But the problem is, he can't get the Garbodor this turn. He can only maybe get it next turn. And, on Luke's next turn, Connor's next turn, he can just get the KO on a Hooper or a Mewtwo or a Shaman or whatever. Okay, so he is going the Trubbish route here. I mean, he doesn't need another Mewtwo. Because if that Mewtwo goes down, Connor's taking all of his prizes. So it's not like he needs one of those. What he really desperately needs here is a Spirit Link Mewtwo. He can attach a double colourless right now. But even leaving a Hooper in the active, I think he's already got the KO with Yveltal. 3 energy, 60 damage, 20 base is 80, Fighting Fury Bout is 90, times 2 for weakness is 180. And he would only need 1 more energy to be hitting 110 on a Shaman to get the KO with a Lysander. All Tamao can do here is maybe retreat into Trubbish and force Connor to have a Lysander. Because otherwise, Connor's got the KO on his Psychic as it is. Shaman, he needs an energy to get the KO. So Tamao could go ahead and retreat into a Trubbish and end Connor? Maybe? Oh, now he's used Versus Seeker there. What did he grab? I didn't see what he grabbed. The other thing if he retreats into Trubbish, he can evolve without a Spirit Link and just choose to end his turn and just hope that Connor doesn't have a Lysander. The other thing he could do, he could Lysander the Yveltal and retreat into the Trubbish. Oh, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Because what he's basically doing is just making it so Connor needs more stuff to win next turn. Now he needs a way to get Yveltal out of the active. And even if he gets Yveltal out of the active, he's going to have to do enough damage to... Oh, okay. So this is a risky play from Tamao here. I like the play, just so we're clear, but it is a bit of a risky one. 1 energy on the Mew, and he will get the KO on the Shaman. But that Trubbish, if Trubbish evolves into Garbodor, that's basically game for Tamao. Because the Mew's ability is turned off, Connor essentially has no energy, and all Mew can do is search for Pokemon. So if Tamao just leaves that Shaman active and gets a Garbodor out next turn with a Floatstone, then you've got to think that Tamao is very much in the driver's seat. Because without an ability, Mew essentially does nothing. Garbodor is huge in this matchup. The fact that Tamao has been unable to get a Garbodor so far is big. So Tamao going the slightly safer route, putting the Trubbish out, and like I said, just evolving. Doesn't need the Spirit Link anymore. So the question is, and I prefer this play, does Connor have a way to get out the active, which is a DCE to retreat, Floatstone, or an Escape Rope, or a Switch, or something like that? It's a Ninja Boy. He can Ninja Boy into a Mew. He doesn't have any more Mews. Because Mew has free retreat. So he can Ninja Boy into a Mew and have free retreat, or he can even Ninja Boy into a Shaman, but he can only Ninja Boy into a Darkrai. And Darkrai's got the same retreat. Oh yeah, and by the way, Darkrai's attack, Mew... it sucks. Mew doesn't want to copy it. So no good Ninja Boy targets there. Almost a brilliant play. If there'd been a Mew, that would have been amazing. Now Tamao is maybe on the verge of something really good here. He needs a lot. There's the Mega Turbo. He can't get out of the active without a Lysander. Oh, and it doesn't look like he's got the Lysander. He's got a Versus Seeker, but he just needs too much right now. He can't put the Mewtwo into the active. Oh, he could if he can just KO the Yveltal. That's an interesting play. He could literally KO the Yveltal, and then Mew's got no attacks to copy other than Sky Return, which really doesn't do very much. So actually, this could be a fun little play from Tamao. Now, I don't know if he's got enough energy. What's he currently doing? 4 energy totals 120 plus a 10 is 130. So, he'd need a double colourless, which he doesn't have. If he'd hit a double colourless, because I'm pretty sure he put the last double colourless last turn. So had he hit a double colourless there and a Floatstone, he could have actually retreated and KO'd with the Mew. Of course, the other thing he can do is just straight away go ahead and just get the Garbodor out and then just sit there and go, well, your Mew's not doing much. Your move, punk. It's a valid play. It's a fun little play he could do. So, anybody know what that Trubbish does? Acid Spray, of course you do. I would have put it on the screen when he got into the active, but that's not the point. Did anyone know before I put it on the screen? 10 damage, flip a coin, if heads, discard an energy attached to the Pokemon. It is a tail. So, now we're back over to Connor. If he hits an energy and a Lysander, it is game. He retreats the Yveltal, plays a Lysander. Oh, and that's actually a big play, getting the Yveltal on the bench, because now he can... If that Yveltal goes down, he can use Mew to cover a copy Evil Ball from the other Yveltal. So I like that play a lot. Because it means even if one Yveltal goes down, Mew can cover or copy Evil Ball from the other. So that's one more play of Tamao's which is out. And Connor's down to very few cards in his deck right now. Does he? I think... Oh, he's got an energy. But he discarded so many energy early game. Well, I think there was a Sycamore at one point discarded 3 basic energy. Because here's the problem. I mean, you can't retreat. He's got to KO the Trubbish with the Yveltal. Just use Evil Ball for 80. It'll do enough. Because he's running out of energy here. But the good news is he's got 2 attackers and 1 prize remaining. So Tamao cannot KO an attacker without leaving him an attacker and a prize remaining. And at this stage, Connor just wants to know what's left in his deck. He's preparing for an end, basically. If Tamao plays an end right now, Connor goes down to 1 card in his hand. So he's making it so that if Tamao does drop an end, there are fewer cards in deck, so he is more likely to draw into the cards that he needs. Now, here's a Super Rod from Tamao. I'm going to say any Garbodors in the discard pile, they're coming right back. Maybe an energy? He doesn't really need anything else. I just go energy here. Energy's always good. So he's going to get those back into his deck with Super Rod. Now, this is a very awkward turn for Tamao. But he knows that Connor doesn't have all that much. So, what he really needs here is to Lysander the Mew and KO it. Because at this stage, Connor can KO anything for the game with that Mew. So, Tamao's got to have a KO here. Oh, or a Garbodor. Gets the energy on Mewtwo, but he needs that for... Okay. So he's got to hit Garbodor here. If he doesn't hit the Garbodor, I don't think he can win the game. He's got the Ultra Ball. And we know he's got Garbodor in his deck. So now, this is it. He can get the Garbodor. He's got the KO on the Yveltal. He can use the Ultra Ball to grab the Garbodor, turn off Mew's ability, and Tamao might actually have this now. Because what does Connor do? We know Connor's short of energy. We know Connor has very, very little energy remaining. So all Tamao needs to do here, he can retreat the Hooper. It's got a Float Stone. That Mewtwo's got 4 energy. Added to the 2 of Yveltal is 180. Plus the 10... base damage is 190, plus the 10 on Yveltal's 200. So that Yveltal is going down. Tamao is taking 2 prizes. Connor's got a Mew with 3 energy attached, but it's not going to have the ability, assuming Tamao puts the Garbodor down, which I'm assuming he's going to. And now, I don't think Connor has enough energy in his deck to build up that Yveltal. I think Tamao might have just won the game. Now, if Connor's got an N, I would suggest playing it, because right here, right now, Tamao's going to win the game. Because Connor can't draw a card, and that's it! Connor concedes. He's got no card to draw next turn, although Tamao would have just needed a Lysander to take out the Shaman for the game. Oh my goodness, that is one of the closest, most back and forth games we've had on this channel for a while. And I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, after Luke's amazing play to win last game, told you there'd be spoilers, and then this game, this is all building up to be a very, very good tournament. I'm enjoying myself. I hope you are too. Now make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. As I said in the previous video, I love doing these commentary games, but the views are generally lower than my analysis games, so I'm going to keep doing what people are watching, which, you know, if you want more of these games, make sure you tell your friends, make sure you do what you can to get those viewing numbers up and click like and just tell me in the comments. And of course, thank you to Tamao and to Connor for agreeing to be on stream. Thank you to Ben for videoing these games. Thank you to Glenn and Shirley for putting on the tournament and just being generally lovely. Look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.